With Nahum chapter 1, an oracle concerning Nineveh. The book of the vision of Nahum, the Elkoshite. The Lord's anger against Nineveh. The Lord is a jealous and avenging God. The Lord takes vengeance and is filled with wrath. The Lord takes vengeance on his foes and maintains his wrath against his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power. The Lord will not leave the guilty unpunished. His way is in the whirlwind, in the storm, and clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebukes the sea and dries it up. He makes all the rivers run dry. Bashan and Carmel wither, and the blossoms of Lebanon fade. The mountains quake before him, and the hills melt away. The earth trembles at his presence, the world and all who live in it. Who can withstand his indignation? Who can endure his fierce anger? His wrath is poured out like fire. The rocks are shattered before him. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. But with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh. He will pursue his foes into darkness. Whatever they plot against the Lord, he will bring to an end. Trouble will not come a second time. They will be entangled among thorns and drunk from their wine. They will be consumed like dry stubble. From you, O Nineveh, has one come forth who plots evil against the Lord and counsels wickedness. This is what the Lord says. Although they have allies and are numerous, they will be cut off and pass away. Although I have afflicted you, O Judah, I will afflict you no more. Now, I will break their yoke from your neck and tear your shackles away. The Lord has given a command concerning you, Nineveh. You will have no descendants to bear your name. I will destroy the carved images and cast idols that are in the temple of your gods. I will prepare your grave, for you are vile. Look, there are there on the mountains the feet of one who brings good news, who proclaims peace. Celebrate your festivals, O Judah, and fulfill your vows. No more will the wicked invade you. No more will the wicked invade you. They will be completely destroyed. So the Lord speaking through Nahum, giving them a prophecy, giving them information to Nineveh, as well as the people of Judah, telling that the people here were people who were worshiping other gods. They were doing detestable acts. This is part of a city that is not of Israel, not of Judah or Israel, but part of, I believe, Assyria. And Assyria was already against Israel and Judah. They were already against the tribes of Israel because they saw the blessing, they saw the promise and they saw the protection that the Lord was providing, and they were jealous. But instead of rebuking their own ways, instead of getting rid of their false gods, and instead of worshiping stones and idols and doing what they wanted to do, which was just full on wickedness, everything that was against the commands and laws of the Lord, they instead were wanting to defeat Israel. They were wanting to have gain from any means necessary, including the suffering of others. And that is not what the Lord wants for anyone, not even his people, not even Israel. And so here is Nahum, who is prophesying to the people of Nineveh as well as Judah. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying, because there's a lot here. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. That's a very, very well-known verse in the book of Nahum. I'm going to read it again because it's so to the point. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. So the people were being attacked. They were being, of Judah, of Israel, were being attacked by Assyria constantly. And so they would be able to, when they were in following the commands of the Lord, where they were at worship of the Lord, they would be able to call upon the Lord. And the Lord was there to protect them and told them what would happen and how it would happen. Then he goes on. Okay, so, but with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh. He will pursue his foes into darkness. So there's people who were wanting Israel and creating Israel to be their enemy. Not only were they not understanding that they were being the enemy of Israel, but they were becoming the enemy of God. They were wanting to become that way because they didn't see any change that was necessary on their end, for themselves, for how they acted, how they communicated, how they treated others. They were self-justified and self-righteous, so much so that they didn't want to turn to the Lord. They heard of the Lord, but they didn't care. They had their own gods of stone and wrapped in gold or silver or what have you, that helped justify their means necessary of what they believed, which was they didn't have to sacrifice anything. They didn't need to work for anything. They just defeat, conquer, and have other people do the work for them. And instead of loving thy neighbor as thyself, instead of building things as a community, building each other up, the family, the community, the nation, looking at Israel as something that is shown what it is to live life in peace and love. Instead, they were self-conceited and self-righteous. Again, they didn't want to do anything that would benefit others. They just wanted things to go good for themselves. Bringing past to present. You know what's interesting? I'm going to talk about something today because it's coming up in my head, and it's very interesting that it's coming up. But I'm going to give some examples of current modern day things where I've seen, including things that you may have seen in regards to how people act. So one thing that's coming up really soon is Halloween. Families take their children to go trick-or-treating or what have you. Some communities do it at church. Some communities do it in certain neighborhoods, or just free for all wherever in the townships. But there are also interesting tidbits that people also teach their children, right? So we have the family, and we have the children who look after their parents or their guardians for guidance on things. And we see from a very young age guidance. So you may have a child come up, and they may say trick or treat. Or a family comes up, they say trick or treat. And parents may be with them or not, and they take candy. You may even tell them how many. Some just rush in and grab a whole handful. Some will ask, and so you start to see, even in our life, where things start to take place, and at what age too. So you have that. Teaching of what is acceptable or what is not acceptable. And in that time, from a young age to adulthood, does that change over time as to what is acceptable and what is not acceptable? What is okay to take and what is not okay to take, and how much? Where is the line of being offered something and going ahead and taking, to a line of not taking too much? So when we grow up into that adulthood, we can see a reflection of where we start to learn things at a young age. We start to learn things at a very young age, and we are susceptible. We hear it from our parents, our guardians. We also hear it from our peers. We also hear it from schools or what have you as we grow and we age. Where that comes in, from, it helps us decide as well what our actions are going to be. So that is a part of development, and from a very young age, we can see where our thoughts and our feelings and our minds are going. Are they being guided, or are we ourselves determining those facts? Are we ourselves determining what is good, what is right, and what is just? What is okay to take? What is not okay to take? What is going beyond? And then knowing that, are we still going to go even further? You also have, when you get to adulthood, people standing in line for service. You have people who will walk straight up to the counter. You will have people, instead of getting in line, you will have people see the line and may ask to cut in the line for whatever reason, or you may see people that go to all the way to the back of the line. What this is drawing is an understanding that even from a young age through adulthood, those choices are made. And what is the result of those choices? We can see that in a line in particular, you may see someone try to cut. Other people may be accepting of that, and then other people may not. That decision may be something that could be a selfish reason. There could be something, a particular reason that maybe they feel, or a person, maybe you've done it as an exception to the rule, such as you have an injury, or you have something that you need to, you have something else that you need to get to. Other people may not agree with you on that subject or that topic that you believe is an exception. So as a society, we see that our decisions affect others. And the Ninevites were at a point where they did not care what they did to others in order for the gain. So we're going to take the trick-or-treating. They go, and when they knock on the door, they don't care if you have your light on or not. They're going to grab whatever is there. Okay? Or you bring the candy out, they're going to dump the candy bowl into their bag. You're going to have we're standing in line. Instead of standing in line, they're going to rush to the front. They don't care. They don't care what's going on. They're going to rush to the front. They're going to ask for service. And if that service is not provided, they're going to threaten in order to have that service provided immediately. They don't care. So in society, we can see that from all the way back to even now, you can see that there's nothing new under the sun, that there's reflections from back then all the way to present day when it comes to our decisions, how we act, how we react, and where our guidance come from. When it comes from the Lord, it is just, it is right, it is correct, it is love. It does not cause confusion. It does not cause pain or hurt or suffering. It does not cause catastrophe. Think about that. There's a lot here. I know that there's a lot to think about, in our world, in our life, in how we go about things, and trying to draw and see the comparisons that we can see visually in our lives. It may not be something as far as trick or treating or standing in the line, but you can see instances of where people's decisions affect others, and you can also see where, when it comes to people doing as much as possible or doing the most, doing going above and beyond, to where they don't care about anything else that's going to happen as long as they are successful in their task at hand. So take a look, take a look at your life, take a look at the things that you've noticed and see the results. Does it come out okay? Or is it something that causes confusion, causes hurt, pain, suffering, anger? Think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think?